an Oklahoma State team who should never doubt.
I mean, and then can we talk about Daniel Jackson for a second? Daniel Jackson is just somebody who has like waited his turn, and even throughout injury, I think he's going to be like a very very underrated piece for us this upcoming season. That's a very very good deep threat.
Yeah, for sure. And speaking of deep threats, I think we have another one in our wide receiver room, Jaden Higgins. Let's get to him.
Woo! Yeah. So we're gonna go over his stats a little bit, and a little bit of a record, records and stuff. So we Jaden Higgins had 53 receptions for 983. Now, and 7 touchdowns. But you gotta think about this. Like a lot of these 983 yards came in the second half of the season when Iowa State started to really, really get on the roll. And then he was 214 yards in the bowl game against Memphis, which was just an absolutely amazing display of just talent and effort. Can you elaborate more on that, Cody?
Yeah, so obviously in the bowl game, it was the Liberty Bowl against Memphis, and in that game, our run game was really struggling. Memphis just simply were the more physical team up front, pushing our offensive line around and not being able to get Abu Sama any sort of running game. So when that was failing, and I think personally we leaned on the running game for a little too long, it should have adapted sooner to a more passive first offense. But when we did eventually decide to adopt a more pass first offense, we started to move the ball pretty well, and we got points on the board. Obviously, Jaden Higgins was a big piece of that. So I'm very excited to see more out of Jaden Higgins. Now he's got a full year of Iowa State football under his umbrella and whatnot, and he's looking like a NFL pro. I've heard people talk about Jaden Higgins as an NFL prospect, and I'm very excited to see that, to follow in the footsteps of guys like Allen Lazard, Hakeem Butler, and more recently Xavier Hutchinson.
Yes. Yeah, man. Like just with Xavier Hutchinson on the Texans roster and Allen Lazard on the Jets roster, and just with Hakeem was doing in UFL, just being a part of this lineage of Iowa State receivers. I look for him to be the next great one. So, as in other great receivers, let's talk about Jaylen Noel. Jaylen Noel had a great season for the Cyclones last year, hauling in 820 yards, 66 receptions for 7 touchdowns. Now, I think we'll say earlier in his career, a lot of people and some of the fan base were ragging on him because he was struggling with drops, and like we were finally trying to figure out, okay, when is Jaylen Noel going to figure this out? And last year, he definitely figured it out. Just especially a lot on these little like swing routes outside the backfield. It reminded me of a little bit of with Brock Purdy when Brock Purdy had Deshaunte Jones. He's just a weapon, and especially just going up the seams, man. He's so quick, so fast, and there's just the K-State game, man. That 82-yard touchdown, man. It is stuck in my mind.
Dude, I have no idea. Like, when I watched that play, I'm just thinking there's like 4 or 5 Kansas State defenders around him, and he's got the sideline to deal with. So there's very limited space. I have no clue how he was even able to maneuver into a perfect spot to where he cannot go out of bounds, but also just has a running route straight to the end zone.
Bro, that awareness, it's ridiculous, dude. And he's just become the perfect slot receiver. But yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and definitely him and Rocco have had that perfect they're connecting pretty well. They have a lot of good chemistry. And I think also going back to what you said, mentioned the 2022 season, I think that had to be a bit of a confidence and chemistry thing. Because obviously we knew the Deckers, he was a very, very strong quarterback. He had a very strong arm, but I think at some point, sometimes it would be so strong that it can almost kill your receiver's hands and almost break them, if you will. So I think maybe that was a bit of chemistry issue, but I think that's something that maybe if you really read into the lines about their chemistry, then you could possibly think that is the case. But that's just hypotheticals, and that's that we've obviously learned and moved on from.
Right. Yeah. So there's new beginnings, and with new beginnings, we had new receivers. So we have one of our new receivers is Eli Green. Eli Green is a transfer in from North Dakota State. Was last year, or he appeared in 15 games last year, and he started six. Pretty good numbers: 877 reception yards, 3 touchdowns. He also had 118 rush yards, 202 kick return yards. So he's a do it all type of guy. What are your thoughts on him?
Yeah, I mean, coming from a program like North Dakota State, they were like a perennial FCS powerhouse.
Yeah,
So that's definitely a place that if you are looking to pick up somebody in the transfer portal, that is one of those programs you can look towards to find guys.
I completely agree, man. I'd like to see, and just to seeing what they said on PFF, him being the highest graded returning receiver. That's just could possibly be work wonders for us this year, and maybe having the season that we think that we can have.
Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty deep receiving room. Like, just
Yeah.
imagine you have like Higgins and Eli Green like going down deeper in the field, then you obviously have the option of Jaylen Noel like in the middle of the field. That's going to open up a lot of defenses, and it's going to be tough to really game plan against this elite receiving room.
Yeah, man, it's fun to have a really good receiver room, and because throughout the Campbell era, like we've had receivers, but not like talent like this. Like it is absolutely amazing, just with the just the recruiting talent of Noah Pollard, the receivers coach.